Hey everybody, let's talk about the latest episode of The Strain. Now, in this episode, Fett got offered to go with the Navy SEALs to DC to chase some vampires, but he tells them no. Even though they found the Master's lair, it's still not enough for them to be able to stay because in the last episode we found out they were only going to be there for 2 more days and their 2 days is up, so they're out. So while he's sitting at the bar, this policewoman comes up and she talks to him, and they end up hooking up. All right, I see you, Fett. Ephraim finally goes and finds Abraham and Fett, and he tells them what happened to Nora. And they're all broken up and sad about it. I even teared up just a little bit because that was my homegirl. R.I.P. Nora. And the only person who was not moved by him showing up was Quinlan. And he's like, you here for a reason. And it's for something. Like, why would you wait a whole week or two before you sought out the people that you was in a crew with? Like, why did it take you this long to come find them? It's a reason why you here. So he peeped his game right off the bat. And Ephraim was like, well, I'm trying to figure out why you here. Like, he tried to flip it on him. And the whole time in the back of my mind, I'm like, Ephraim, I know you didn't show up over here to try to find that lumen to trade it in for Zach. I know that's not why you over here, right? Right, Ephraim? I want to like you this season. Please don't make me start not liking you. Because I was all for Ephraim. But now he acting stupid. What is wrong with you? By the end of the episode, Ephraim went looking for the lumen because Abraham and Fett had went off to meet with someone. We'll get to that too. But anyway, they were gone, and so he takes this opportunity to go looking for the lumen. So he finds it in this room and it's got all these UV lights around it and stuff, but it's in a safe. So Quinlan walks up behind him and he's like, see, what did the master offer you for that book? And Ephraim finally told him, my son. And he said, well, you know what? Go ahead and turn them lights off, and I'll break right into that safe because that safe ain't nothing to me. And we'll use this book for leverage. You'll get your son, and I'll get a shot at the master. How about that? And then the lights went out. So it's almost as if Ephraim was like, cool, that'll work for me. Because see, while Abraham was trying to decipher what the book means, and he's trying to really understand what this book is and how to kill the master, how to get rid of everything. Like, he's really trying to find a cure for the world to rid them of the Strigoi, right? But Quinlan and Ephraim, they are so anxious to just get rid of the master and get Zach back and all this stuff. They're thinking too far ahead of themselves. And they're just tired of waiting on Abraham. So I guess they just gonna go ahead and try to do it themselves. Stupid. Like, what are you doing? Quinlan, really? You think all you need is one little bitty shot at the master and you just gonna take him out? You don't know. I don't know what he knows. He may know more than what I think that he knows. Or are you really trying to kill the master? Are you really trying to get on his side? Like, what are you doing? I'm still, kind of iffy about Quinlan anyway. But I think that was stupid of Ephraim. You so dumb. Watch, it's gonna blow up in his face. Just watch. We finally get to see Dutch for the first time for the season, and she's running with her old hacking crew, and they decide to go into a skyscraper building to look for some food. And everything in her mind is going, oh, there are a million things that could go wrong when we go in here because, she's used to being with Fett and the crew, so she kind of knows what is dangerous and what is not so dangerous when dealing with these vampires. And so she was a little adamant about it, but her and the crew, they went on in there. And sure enough, yes, they found, the motherload of food, but there were vampires in there, and a lot of them got killed. I think only 4 survived total, including Dutch. And one of the guys got bit, and they actually left her. They dipped out on her, so she was still in there fighting her way. She had to fight her way out of there, okay? So she was pissed. So when she got back, to the place where they were staying, she was just packing up her stuff. Like, you know what? I ain't got time for this because I knew it was a risk going in, and I should have stopped us from doing that because we lost people today and it could have been avoided. So I'm sure she was just going through all of that in her mind, and she held that UV light up to that guy that got bit, and they seen all them worms in him, and she's like, well, y'all gonna have to take care of that because if y'all don't kill him, he's gonna be killing you within the next day or two. So all that little food that y'all, was so happy about getting, it's not even gonna matter when you don't even eat food no more. And so the dude that was infected, he was just talking all that mess to her. And at the end of the day, she just took out her sword and shoop, went right across his face, honey. She sliced him all up and through up in here. And she took care of that problem. And she's like, well, now y'all ain't got to worry about it. And she got up out of there. Please go back to Vietnam. Go back to your crew, girl. Quit fooling with these crazy people out here in these streets, girl. You know these is the last days. But no, I really want her to go back to Fett and them. But I don't want her thinking she can just go back to Fett and think she just gonna make it up and get back with him. Nope. I keep forgetting his name. I'm gonna call him number one because I never remember his name. I'm talking about the ex-Nazi dude. The master's number one man. That's why I'm gonna call him number one from here on out, y'all. So if you hear me say number one, you know I'm talking about the master's number one guy. So he goes and sees Eldridge and he throws a Coco joke. And he's like, oh, sometimes I really miss Coco. I know you do too. Really? But Eldridge he's just playing it cool because he done got knocked off his high horse. Okay, he thought he was all big and bad, and he cost them the lumen, and they done killed this girl and all this other stuff in front of him. So he's piped down just a little bit. Plus Eldridge is a little sick again, so he need that white. But they're not giving him the white until he secures the lumen and Abraham. And I'm just like, well, Eldridge, you probably just gonna be up out of here because I don't see how you are going to get it. But then again, now that crazy Ephraim done got the lumen, it might be a way that he could, persuade him to get the lumen. Who knows at this point, okay? But Eldridge, he's just knocked off that high horse and he's just in his feelings a little bit. He's not as snappy with that mouth these days. So we'll see what happens. But Eldridge actually wanted to meet up with Abraham and Fett because he wanted to know the recipe for the white. Because he knows that Abraham has concocted some kind of white based medicine to sustain him and to keep him alive. Because, Abraham is old and he's, been out chasing these vampires a long time. And, Eldridge knows that. And so he wants to know the recipe. So he propositions Abraham and he says, listen, if you give me the recipe for the white, I will gladly, pull back all my resources and I will be out of y'all's way and it'll make you easier to get the master because I think Eldridge is really tired of dealing with the master and his shenanigans. So he's trying to get up out of there. But Abraham tells him no. I ain't gonna be able to do that one because the last time we shook hands, you backstabbed me. Nope. So in the end, I think Abraham is just gonna use the fact that Eldridge is sick against him and try to, display him. So that's basically everything that happened on this episode. If I left anything out, please feel free to drop it in the comments below. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe because I will be here doing videos for the strain for the whole season. Okay, I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.